Welcome, everybody, to the 18th green of the Nokia Disc Golf Park here in Nokia, Finland. It is major time yet again, the second major of the year, the Champions Cup. We have Eagle McMahon here in the house. Eagle, this is a special place for many reasons, but last year you gave us one of the greatest shows on planet Earth in the disc golf world. How does it feel coming back here?
It feels really special. Yesterday I came out and played the course for the first time since last year. Definitely a special feeling out there walking the fairways, and let's just say the place looks great. Well,
you averaged over 1070 golf last year with virtually no forehand. You threw maybe a couple that tournament. You threw some lefty backhands. How different is the way you approach this course this year compared to last year?
It's fairly similar, but there's definitely a few holes where I have the luxury of choosing a forehand now. Not sure about hole 2 yet. If I have a tailwind, I might throw forehand, but might see a lefty. You never know. Yeah. But the hole numbers are eluding me, but I know that there's 2 or 3 holes out there that instead of forcing a backhand, the forehand sets up a lot better, and I'm looking forward to taking that approach during the tournament.
Did that win last year at this course with virtually all backhand, did it open your eyes to new ways of seeing holes in general?
Definitely. It was very special because it just gave me the confidence that like anything is possible, because before then people knew I had a good backhand. That I feel like I have the full package, but I definitely leaned on forehand more times than not, especially in the woods. So to go out and play with what I was a little less confident in to perform so well, it just gave me every reason that there is really no excuse.
Well, I've been watching you throw some more forehands recently than you have in the past. We saw last week you threw it on hole 1 at PCS. Obviously, from I guess the outside, the form looks decent or different. The way that you're throwing the forehand. Have you consciously had to change the way that you throw the forehand to accommodate?
Yes, what I'm calling it right now is my little chicken wing forehand. Just right now, if you go back prior to injury, I had a very long reach back and whip style throw with my forehand, and currently where I'm at, I'm not really able to do so with leading with the elbow. Instead, I'm really adamant about keeping everything really packed in the shoulder capsule and bringing it a lot closer to my hip and to my side to make sure everything just stays compact and that doesn't stress out the muscles and ligaments quite as much.
Well, you threw, hole 1 at PCS is 400 feet, a little bit downhill. You threw pretty clean hyzer down there. Do you feel like now it's just more you're focusing on just popping your wrist and trusting release point?
It's about weight transfer and really making sure I throw the right disc, right release, ride the wind. So my comfort zone is right around 350 feet on a forehand. Anything more I probably could get to, but I'm just choosing not to because longevity and finishing the season before any sort of other intervention I may have is very important for me right now.
Well, we talked about the lefty so much last year. You did so well in hole number 2 with it. Is there any maintenance happening with the lefty backhand these days? Are you putting in any intentional practice?
I would say not really. It's more, let me throw a few shots here and there lefty to maybe see if it's improving, and it actually does. Like, if you'll be surprised by throwing just a little bit here, a little bit there, how you can gain a little bit distance and at least keep it as an option. I really would like to put more work into it because I really do believe that it could be advantageous in the future to be ambidextrous to a certain degree, and we'll see, because having the lefty really is a little bit easier on the body than forehand, just because the backhand throw you're using a lot more of the bigger muscles in your body, and hopefully in the off season or at some point I get enough motivation to go out and practice it more.
Well, thank you for that detail. Let's actually zoom in on this course. It's been celebrated for a very long time, and the changes made to a lot of these holes are very minimal over the years. What would you say, I guess, for a 4-round tournament at the Beast, are the main physical and psychological demands out here?
Yeah, when you think of playing a course such as the Beast, very difficult for 4 rounds, it kind of seems daunting at first, but what it really comes down to is playing each hole moment by moment. It's a cliche, but it really is true. You have to really digest it. Just show up Thursday, whenever your tee time is, put a good practice session in the field, warm up properly, and just take it day by day and make the best decision possible in each moment.
So then physically speaking, gameplay-wise out here at the Beast, what does it require of you mainly?
Well, the good thing about this is, like, comparing the course to last week, the 2 European courses that are on the Disc Golf Pro Tour and this major is they're a little bit shorter than what we're playing back in the U.S., but there's a lot more OB lines, and that makes it a lot more interesting because you're able to shorten the holes and still have a course that's very challenging. PCS as well as the Beast, they utilize elevation really well to make the course really difficult, but also not too taxing to play, which I think a lot of our players are really enjoying. Just amongst my peers, speaking with them, we don't always like playing 11,000, 12,000 foot courses because distance doesn't equal hard sometimes. It's more about how well a hole is thought out. Like 18 here is one of the best holes in disc golf, in my opinion, because it rewards 2 good shots. You're going to get penalized if you throw a poor shot, and it's how it should be. But you can game plan a shot. You can be not very aggressive and play it for par if you want to, but you have to go a little bit outside your comfort zone to get the birdie. But I think that's what it should be.
Well, speaking of that, now we have a course that, like you said, has a little balance of technicality and power and whatnot. How do you prep for a major at a course like this? What does the prep look like?
For a major, I'm trying to get to a point where I just prepare for each round the very same, because if you put a major on this pedestal, you put an Elite Series on this pedestal, it's going to be really difficult to find any sort of consistency. Like, I think there is some beauty to thinking that this is a major, it's more important than anything else, but in reality, you have to make it your play as consistent as possible throughout the year. So I'm not really taking it all that much different. At least I'm telling myself that. I'm just doing what I know best, and that's giving my best effort in each and every moment. Well,
one last question. We got the President's Cup coming up tomorrow. This is always an exciting event. What are your thoughts about it?
It's really cool. There's a little bit of pressure on everybody on the U.S. team because the U.S. has never lost. So we go in there, and it's a great bonding experience between U.S. and Europe. The camaraderie out there is really cool, but there's definitely a competitive drive in everybody out there to do their best, because you don't want to be on the team that loses.
Well, thank you so much for all the insight, Eagle. Good luck this week. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a few. joined here in the clubhouse with Niklas Anttila. Niklas, it's major time, and you have recently done very well at many majors. What is that for you? Do you make these tournaments more important in your head?
Yeah, it's something different about majors. I just love the feeling of like the whole major week. It makes me like be more focused for some reason and play my best game usually.
Do you think that's how it's always going to be for you, or do you think eventually once you start winning a bunch of them, it's going to start feeling like just another day, another tournament?
I don't think I will ever get enough of majors. I hope so, at least.
Your career has progressed very quickly over the past few years. You're still only 21 years old, but you got second place at the Champions Cup earlier this year. You got second place at the USDGC, nearly won a spectacular finishing hole with Gannon Burr. But now we're here at the European Open. You're back home in Finland. You came close to winning this tournament before. How do you feel about your game this year?
I feel good. I have been playing pretty good recently. Of course, I won Konopiste by 8 strokes, so that gave me a good confidence boost for the rest of the season. And I feel like my putting has been very good lately, so yeah, I feel confident in going into this week.
Yeah, I've looked at your stats, and this season you've had some really, really high peaks and some moments that you're probably not very satisfied with, kind of up and down this year. How do you battle through that? Do you care that much when you have a performance you're not satisfied with?
Yeah, when I play bad, I usually just practice more. I go to field and go to putting basket, and I just feel like I need to do something to feel confident again about my game and about myself. And when I play bad, I don't like to just go to my house and lay down.
Well, when you go to the field and practice, it seems to be different for every player. There are some professionals that don't ever go to a field to practice. They're always playing rounds. What does it look like for you in the field? Is it very strict, or do you just kind of throw?
If I, for example, feel that my hyzers are coming off my hand bad, I throw hyzers, or sometimes I just go to play a round or go to a putting basket. It just depends that what's feeling wrong at the time.
Well, coming to this course this week, you've had great finishes here in the past. How different does your personal game feel compared to how it was last year?
I just feel like everything has been going forward like a little bit more again, and I think that's the main thing for me, that I'm a little bit better every year, so I will be very good at after 10 years or so. So I feel like my putting is being super hot lately, and I think my accuracy is where it needs to be as well.
You say your aggression is where it needs to be?
Accuracy.
Accuracy is where it needs to be. Well, clearly, you've obviously been known for your accuracy. You mentioned this week is a very busy week for you, and it seems like things are getting busier for you all the time now because of how much success you're having. Do you enjoy that busyness and that side of your job?
Yeah, it's of course different than playing a disc golf round or stuff, but I can just say that my favorite thing is to play disc golf, and I can't wait to start the tournament on Wednesday.
Perfect. Well, let's talk about the President's Cup. Just talked previously to Eagle, who said that, it's not fun to be on the team that loses. The U.S. obviously has not lost yet, but he's afraid of being that team that's losing. How do you feel about this tournament? Is there a big sense of pride for you?
Yeah, I feel super proud to play for Team Europe, and I think we have a good chance this year. It's only going to be 18 holes, I think, for the whole tournament, so anything can happen, and I believe in our team.
Now, have you practiced at all with any of your teammates? Have you talked to your teammates about strategy or anything leading up to tomorrow?
Not really, but I think I need to today and tomorrow, so we have a good chance at winning.
Well, fantastic. Niklas, here is Zoe Andijk for a few more questions.
Thank you.
Hello, Niklas.
Hey.
And welcome home, actually. I'd like to start with your time in the United States. First of all, what were some of your favorite highlights from coming over and playing the Disc Golf Elite Series over in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think the highlight for me was Champions Cup second place. It's a type of golf I like to play, and how I learned disc golf. It's in the woods, and it's mostly mid-ranges and maybe fairway drivers. That's my favorite throw, so I think that. And yeah, actually, it's my first tournament back in Finland this year, and we are living July. It's crazy.
Also, what would be your favorite event so far that you've played in the U.S.?
I think I must say Green Mountain Championship because I like all the courses there, and I can't wait to be back to this year at the World Championships. It's a beautiful place.
And we kind of touched on it. Brian was talking about some of your huge success and also some of the lower points this season. In your opinion, what is it that you're going to focus on to maintain or to, I guess, obtain more consistency?
I think people say it all the time, but for me it's pretty simple to take like one shot at a time. Not think too far ahead, because I think that's when you kind of lose your focus and your shots are coming at your hand like sideways and everything. So I need to focus on my next shot because that's the most important shot in the game.
And now considering USDGC second place last year and again Champions Cup, so much success, almost right there on top of the podium, is there anything internally or mentally that you are focusing on strengthening your mind to be able to hoist that trophy?
Yeah, it feels kind of at the same time bad and good to be second place like 2 times in a row, but I think when I get that experience at like playing the lead card and paddling for the win, I think that's the most important thing for me, that when the next time comes, I'm ready for to take the win.
And coming into this weekend, the Beast, well, it is the Beast. Tell us about what are some of your favorite aspects on this course?
I think the last 4 holes, they are I think the best finishing holes in the game. It's like different. For example, hole 15 is a nice downhill shot, a lot of OB. Then of course the famous island hole, and hole 18 is one of the best finishing holes in the game. So I think the tournament is gonna come down to like last 4 holes.
All right, and moving on to the exciting competition tomorrow, Team Europe versus Team USA. USA having a flawless record, but we have heard a lot of people talk about the European team bringing the heat, bringing higher-rated players. Let's talk about it. Well, I guess you said you hadn't really talked much with your team, but in your opinion, without discussion, where do you think that the European strength is?
I think the strength is that we are very good friends and we have like good like team community. We are good friends and we can have like nice time and enjoy the tournament and don't be too serious about the game. So I think that's gonna be the key for us.
Have you watched Presidents Cups in years past?
I don't think I had the chance because they were not like live streaming it back then. But I played it last year, so that was fun times for sure.
And would you say that it was a goal to always be on the Team European team?
Yeah, of course. Like that's when you know that you are one of the best in Europe, when you get to play for Team Europe in the Presidents Cup. So for sure, that's like a bucket list thing.
All right, just one final thought. Knowing that we are so close to the Tampere Disc Golf Center and we have the Beast here, what are your thoughts? We've heard a lot of talk among the tour about having a World Championships in this location. Number one, do you think that could happen? And two, what would you think if it did?
I think it should happen because Tampere is very good course and it's challenging in like different way than this course. I think if we have like these 2 courses in one tournament, it's gonna be like good mix of both like wooded and open holes and different type of course, because I think Tampere is a bit longer course than this one, so it brings like all the aspects of the game. And yeah, I want to see it soon.
All right. Well, I want to say best of luck to you, Team Europe tomorrow, and then throughout your individual tournament on the weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Disc Golf Network. We are welcoming to the stage Kristin Tattar. Kristin, welcome to the Beast. How does it feel to be back here? It's the first time since 2019.
Yes. It still feels like yesterday in a way because I'm in the setting and I feel like the vibe is the same. And it was just such a huge privilege to be competing here in 2019. But then I think I was a different player and a different person than I am now. So I'm interested to see how it goes this week.
Well, it's like you're reading off my questions. I'm going to get to that part of the player in just a moment about the differences, but let's take a second and celebrate together. Congratulations last weekend. That was a PCS championship for you. It was your 8th win on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. 8 wins. We haven't ever seen that in the entire Disc Golf Pro Tour's history. What can you just give us a little bit on that? It's every other large event and you're taking it down in fine fashion.
If I'd know the recipe, I would gladly share it. But I don't know. I just try to take one step at a time and see where it takes me. I think this one was the hardest win I've had so far this season. Usually when I go to, I feel like at least that every other win, when I go to the last hole, I already have some cushion or something that's it feels kinda safe. But on this one, it was very tough. The last hole was very tough. I was on my toes the entire time. Missy was playing so well. I don't know what happened to her putting because she is an amazing putter. She was definitely throwing the disc better than me, but I somehow hung on to my lead and was able to come out as a winner. Yeah, I don't know what the recipe is. I just do what I love and see where it takes me.
And in your post-round interview, you had talked about how thankful, especially, that you were that this one was over. Mm-hmm. And after a couple of days to reflect, and some of the highs and some of the lows, still feeling, are you feeling like there are places to tighten up? And have you had a chance to reflect and work on your game? Or is it just a matter of that tournament and you're ready for the next?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about last week. I was pretty happy it was over. I think on a lot of those shots I wasn't maybe confident enough, and that's why I didn't really commit to the shot. And then I had some OBs and had some strokes here and there which were just, I don't know, uncharacteristic. I felt like some of the approaches and drives. Here I know I have to have that confidence like last week because there's a lot of OB. Every shot is crucial here to not mess up. And I just try to build up that confidence and not let anything just bring me down.
And so you have had a chance to practice the Beast?
Yes, I've already played 2 rounds. There are still a couple of holes that I maybe go and try to throw later in the evening. But in general, I think it's pretty straightforward here to develop a game plan. And yeah, I feel pretty ready. So
physically developed game plan, mentally, this is a major with so much heavier weight than even an elite series. How do you prepare your focus or mentally prepare, or is it any different?
I mean, it feels different, to be honest, but I think the right approach would be to take it as every other weekend. Because, I mean, there's the opponents are the same, basically. And it's me against me most of the time, and I just have to execute my game plan. If somebody beats me, then I can't be mad if I put my 100% out there. So my job is to just focus on my shots and try to execute them as the best of my ability. Yeah.
All right, so back to where we started. You said I'm a much different player than I was in 2019, coming back to battle at the Beast. Can you kind of talk about some of your, I guess, the biggest improvement in your game over just the last couple of years, and really what's your biggest strength as a player? How is it that we're finding you on that podium time after time? What are the differences in just 2 years?
4, actually.
Or excuse me,
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. But I think in 2019 I was still like trying to prove myself as a player and like really show my skills, and that put a different kind of pressure on me. Now I feel like I don't really try to prove anything. I know already I have the skills. It's just a matter of executing. And I try to remind myself that I've already been in these situations where I play for a big win. Back then I hadn't really had like a major win I didn't have at that time. And then I was just excited to play with like Catrina and Paige, and I think even Valerie Jenkins was playing in 2019. And I was just, most of the time I was just starstruck. And now I've already played with them, and it's different. I still, of course, have a huge respect for them and playing with them, but it's just, I think it's just a different kind of relationship now.
All right, just one more before I pass it off. It is the President's Cup starting tomorrow. How does it feel to be a part of that team representing Europe?
I remember I used to dream about being in that team, and now I finally have the opportunity to represent Europe. And in a way, I already feel like I've been representing Europe. I especially felt that when COVID hit, and I was the only like European woman in the US. But it's just a big honor, and I'm excited to see how it rolls out. Yeah.
And logistically, do you guys think you've got what it takes this year?
We'll see. Yeah, I think everything is possible. Yeah.
Well, good luck this weekend, and here's Brian.
Hello, Kristin.
Hey.
A couple questions for you. First off, you talked to Nate Perkins after your victory yesterday, or last week, and you mentioned that you were looking forward to working through the frustrations that you had during that final round.
Yeah.
Was that more of a figurative figure of speech, or is there actually something physical that you're working on specifically?
No, it was just I felt that I was kind of like bothered by my mistakes, and I usually don't feel like being bothered by making mistakes because I understand it's normal. I cannot be 100% perfect, but there I kind of let it in my head, and I was thinking maybe on the next hole I can also mess up, and then it gets really tricky in your head. So now, like this week, I try to like brush it off. Even if I make a mistake, I know like, okay, here's the next hole or the next shot. I still have my abilities. Nothing has changed. Try to be confident. Yeah.
Is that something that is affected by, just straight up internal, like it just happens and you can't get out of it, one of those mental ruts? Or is that something that's, external and in something affecting you that way?
I think it's internal.
Yeah.
I think everything is internal. I cannot put the blame on anybody else. The way I react to what's going on around me, it's my responsibility.
Mm-hmm. So let's zoom into the course, the Beast here. So 4 rounds at a course like this that a lot of people have talked about for years as being one of the more challenging courses. What are the main physical demands out here on this course? What do you feel like you have to bring to the table as a player?
I think even though this year they have shortened some of the holes, I feel like still quite a lot of distance is required on some of these shots. but mostly you have to be extremely accurate. Keep the disc in bounce. It's been very windy, so I think we have to use a lot of overstable discs. So yeah, just being really focused and reading the wind right will be the main challenge.
So really not even, you talked a lot about the conditions, like playing the conditions of the course. The shapes, the angles themselves, not necessarily something different or especially difficult compared to other courses you've seen?
Not really. On the open holes, I try to stick with like hyzer shots, and in the woods, it's just keeping it straight. So nothing really like new. Yeah.
Well, with that said, I have one last question for you. It's a long season.
Yeah.
It has been, especially for you. You've been back and forth from the States to Europe multiple times already. Have you gotten used to the jet lag at all? Is that something that you've gotten good at mitigating?
I don't know if you can get good at it, but you maybe get used to it. You already know what to expect. It's always tougher for me to come back home. And now I was talking to some of the US players. They said they have been struggling as well. The first 3 nights at home, I could not sleep at all. And then I slept 13 hours straight. So maybe I got a good rest then. But yeah, it's always hard. Yeah. It's always hard.
Well, yeah, I say that. It's been difficult for a lot of our team as well to get used to this here. But yeah, that's something to celebrate, just you being able to get used to that and be as successful as you have been. Well, good luck this week. Everyone's rooting for you. We'll see you out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Joined here by Paul McBeth. Paul, you've been here a while. You've been here for quite a long time. I believe this is the longest stretch you've been over here in Europe, correct?
Oh, yeah, by far.
How has this been from a learning standpoint for you? Like, not just player, but course designer, student of the game. How has it been for you?
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, these courses, I don't know any of the course designers for any of the courses that I've played except this one. You know, so it's like these are just people from those towns, I believe, that are designing these courses that are just so incredible to play. So they just got something going on over here in Europe. You know, course designing doesn't seem too hard for them.
I guess you could say that. I mean, and you say that as a course designer that's designed some pretty cool tracks. Have you learned anything about your craft as a designer from playing things over here? Maybe some inspiration?
Yeah, I think just a different way to look at some of these courses and some of the hole designs. I mean, they have, I think each course I've played almost has like a U-turn kind of hole, but they design it so well to where you don't want to cheat it. You know, you don't want to cheat that kind of shot and just try to go towards the pin. You're not going to go through the wood. So, I mean, there's some things that I've definitely learned and looked at. I mean, one that really stands out is over at Skellefteå. They have these little ponds. They have one here, too, on hole 11. But they utilize these little ponds to where, yeah, you might go in them, but you're getting your disc back. But it's just kind of a really unique challenge. So hopefully I can do stuff like that on some future course designs.
Yeah, so not nightmarish lakes that you'll never see your disc again.
Yep, very shallow pools.
I enjoy that. So moving forward, you mentioned to Perkins after your victory that you have a long career ahead of you still. Mm-hmm. And I think you've spoken a lot about longevity as an athlete in this game quite a bit. But I want you to speak maybe a little bit more on that, because we're seeing so many players getting injured these days that have not had as long of careers as you. And you've seen to mitigate injury pretty decent, minus a couple. How much do you focus on like the longevity of your career while you're in mid-season? Yeah,
I mean, can I throw as hard as, and put as much effort as someone like Eagle McMahon on forehands or backhands? Yeah, of course. Like back in 2008, I actually won the world distance competition, so I did that. I had fun with that, and I threw as far as I could, but that wasn't going to help me win tournaments. I felt like that was just going to put more stress on my body. If I go out there and throw the disc 85% or 90%, I'm going to be throwing it 500 feet. And that's really what you need on these courses. We play some golf courses where you might need more, but as we've moved to those golf courses, you see a lot more injuries to these players. So I think it's kind of, I look at each year individually, it's like a war, and each tournament's kind of a battle. And you want to win the war, not the battle. So some of these courses, I might lean on a roller more just to save energy and save my body versus trying to rip, 500-600 feet each shot. So that's kind of how I just look at it, and then taking care of yourself as well, and not pushing it, because it's weird to say, but disc golf shape is a real thing. Walking these courses, throwing so many shots, and just pushing through some little things is key. And then just learning your body and figuring out when to stop.
Well, you threw some phenomenal touch shots or down tempo shots last week. That's kind of why I asked, because a lot of players are throwing mid range when you're kind of clubbing up to a fairway and throwing it like a mid range or a putter. But the big thing that I want to ask you is, are you going to be playing past your 40s? Your contract, I believe, is up around when you turn 40.
Yep.
Are you alluding to potentially not retiring right away? I think there's a lot of people thinking that you're going to be done after that contract.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still full 7 years away from 40. So still a long time for that. And with life, who knows where it takes me. Yeah. But I think until I feel like I show up to a tournament and I'm not there to win is when I'll stop playing. I don't know that kind of mindset of going there and being like, oh, I just want a top 10 here. I just want a top 5. So I think once that goes away, that's when it's time to stop competing.
For sure. Well, I looked at some of the stats here, and the one that really sticks out to me outside of all the wins that you've had at the European Open, this is your 8th President's Cup team that you've been on. You were on the team all the way back in 2011. That's incredible. It speaks to a lot of different things about you and your career. But look back at yourself as an athlete in 2011 when you made this team. Mm-hmm. First off, how did that feel to get asked to join? And then what kind of player and person were you back then?
Well, so 2011, I just won Memorial earlier that year, Beaver State Fling, right before coming here. And it was actually a big group that was coming over to Europe at that time. I think I came with between 7 to 9 different players. We did like a little tour here. I think we hit 13 countries at that time, so we just drove through a lot. But we went and played a couple tournaments, and I mean, it's all the names that are still recognizable today. You know, Kale, Dave Felberg, Paul Ulibarri, Paige Pierce, and there's just a ton of them. And we all just came and did that. So that was my first experience in Europe. So it was a true adventure. I learned a lot back then. And the player back then was still learning like the player is today. It was, I think that's really when I learned how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, because the first time I was international, out of the country, and definitely experienced a lot of cultures and languages at the time, and I just had to be comfortable in that and learn. So I think that was huge for my career.
Well, I mean, now this is, again, your 8th President's Cup team. Does the tournament still mean a lot to you? Do you still have a lot of pride playing this type of event?
Well, U.S. has won every time, so I don't want to be on the team that loses. I don't want to be the first one. So, yeah, I mean, that is pressure, and that is something I carry and put on myself. And I don't know if you have the records in front of you, but I think I have a pretty successful record in the President's Cup.
You've done pretty well here. Don't have the exact stats, but I remember looking in years past. But let's move forward to this course, the Beast. What are the psychological demands of a 4-round tournament here?
Say that again?
What are the psychological demands of a 4-round tournament here?
Gotcha, 4-round. I thought you said before, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, 4-rounders, there's due to be one round that's not as great as you want it. Very rarely do you put together 4 great rounds. And I think we saw that last year. I think Eagle and I shot 4 great rounds, but one might have been a little off. I don't recall, but you got to be understanding that you're not going to be perfect for 4 straight rounds. And there's going to be OBs out here. I mean, the last 2 days have been the most wind I think I've played here ever in practice or competition. So it's I think it's going to help a lot of people understand, like, you're going to be out of bounds a lot. You're going to be in some situations and trouble that you don't want to be in. But no, it's just understanding that it's not going to be perfect. Nobody's going to come out here and put together a perfect tournament. I mean, this course is designed to prevent that. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, though, and hopefully, if it does ever happen, I can be the first one.
Well, let's also talk about the other side of this. What are the shot-making demands out here at this course for a 4-round tournament? What does it expect of you?
Everything. Every single shot you have, you're throwing on this course. I mean, you're throwing a touch, mid, or putter shot on the first hole, then you're going power forehand, or if you're Eagle, lefty. Then you're going either a layup or a power turnover on the second shot, then a tunnel third shot, tunnel or roller on the fourth hole, then a long power putter shot on hole 5, then back to a power tunnel, touch mid-range, and then like a touch forehand, and that's the first 9 holes. So I didn't leave out much.
Well, it's interesting to listen to you just very easily tell exactly what shot that you're throwing. Is that due to just playing so many rounds here? And has your game plan stayed virtually the same?
The course has changed a little bit, but I was asked that question yesterday. If like, how is it coming out here and you've played this course so many times? Do you know exactly what you're going to do? And it's like, I know what the holes are like, but every year my bag is different. Yeah. So I need to know which disc I'm going to throw on these holes. So I need to try them all out, and I know what kind of shot I want to execute. But, it's really what my bag's looking like at the time, because my discs aren't the exact same as they were the previous year. So I still have stuff to learn when I come out to this course, or a course that I know so well. So some of them I may have like I'll switch up the game plan on a couple holes, like hole 5 I'm going forehand zone this year, where I've usually gone putter, backhand touch shot. That one's definitely switching up, and I just think that's just been the learning curve of learning how to throw that zone forehand and controlling it so well and at a distance now. So that's something that my game's developed, and some other holes I might be throwing more of a power forehand versus like a backhand tunnel shot. But yeah, I got one more solid day of figuring those things out.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, and here's Zoe for a few more.
Perfect.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Zoe.
And welcome back to the Beast. You have had so much success here, 5 major titles right here at the Beast, and I just heard you talk about the variety. Would you say that it's because the versatility in you as a player that brings the best out of you, or what is it about this place that you perform so well?
I mean, I think that is definitely an advantage of my game. Is I feel like I'm above average in almost every aspect of the game. You know, backhand, forehand, speed control, spin rate, and all that stuff. To where I really like to focus on that. So on a course like this, that is very important. And if you can be consistent with all those assets, you're going to score well and perform well out here. And then, you know, the weather can become a factor as well. And I feel like growing up on the beach, I kind of learned how to deal with that element that we have out here. So I think it definitely plays to my advantage on a course like this, and doing it for 4 rounds versus just having one hot round. I think that really helps me as well. So it's not that I'm lucky, you know, it's been years of hard work, but yeah, I think designing my game that way has really helped me.
I want to say congratulations again last weekend and on the success that you've had over here in Europe. You've had some interviews, but can you paraphrase what went into the decision making to be over here for the majority of the European tour?
I think it was just time to do a change and switch it up. And I always enjoy, like I've tried to get to Europe for quite a while now. Actually, the year, you know, we had the pandemic, 2020, I had a kind of extensive trip planned already to come over here for maybe just a month. But you know, that obviously happened, and then 2021 is still hard to get to a lot of places. 2022, it was the first time that we were allowed to come back to Europe, and then finally 2023 everything was open and travel was very easy. So I was like, all right, I'm finally doing it. And also I feel like at this point in my career, I was kind of stuck in the States and just playing the same tournaments and same courses, and I think I just needed a change to kind of reignite that fire of wanting to get out there and compete and just kind of see something different, experience something different. And I'm glad I did it. And I can see doing it again in the future. And from the sounds of it, I can see a lot of other players doing that as well.
And just generalizing, comparing some of the elite series or the majors in the United States versus your experience here, what are some of the biggest differences, or I guess, would you say that they're pretty comparable?
I think the biggest difference I notice is obviously the cultures. I love experiencing other cultures and seeing the way that they live and just go through life. And I think the way that just Europe's designed is I feel like a lot of these courses, you just get to the city center, and then in the public transportation, you can go pretty much anywhere. You can get to the course from your hotel just by taking a bus or walking. Everything just seems so close and so easy. And in the States, like if you just want to go get some food or something, like you have to hop in your car, drive wherever, and then if you want to go to the course, it's probably 15 minutes of who knows what. But it just, the ease out here of getting around is so nice, and it just seems like the life is so simple.
And specifically for the disc golf events themselves, are they up to the standard? Are they above? Are there huge differences there?
Well, the courses seem tournament ready. No, I mean, you could just go to a public course here, and it looks like they just hosted a tournament of some sort. You know, they got their OBs lined up. They got the fairways manicured and everything, and that's just like some random course that you go to. So I don't want to say it's better than the U.S. You know, I think it's comparable, but I just love the way that these courses are designed and kind of how they are in the woods, sometimes open. And each country I've been to, they all have their own style of course too, and their own terrain. And I don't know, it's just very fun to experience it all.
All right, final question, just a fun one if you can share. Are there any new developments since you've been in Europe for the Paul McBeth Foundation, or would that have even affected any of the decision making? Can you share about any new developments?
I don't know about any new ones, but my first stop on this trip was in Madrid, Spain, for a course that we did some ribbon cutting on. So the first stop was a new course with the foundation. I heard there might be one later in the year. I don't think it's confirmed yet, but actually when you mentioned that, we're actually dropping a video about the first tournament in La Paz, Mexico at the Paul McBeth Foundation course, the first ever project. That's dropping today, actually. So if you're in the States, be on the lookout for that, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. Best of luck on your 6th European Open, and have fun at the President's Cup.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. are back live on the Disc Golf Network, joined by Catrina Allen. Catrina, welcome back to the Beast. How does it feel to be here?
Oh, awesome. I love it here. Yeah.
And you've been to Europe many times.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite things about doing this European travel?
Man, I could probably never think of all my favorites. I think it's seeing, I mean, even though now they come over to the States, but like spending time with my Finnish friends that I only see once a year would probably be my favorite.
And being here in Finland, word on the street is you've been practicing your Finnish. What are some of your favorite things about this culture and that motivate you to want to learn Finnish?
I think it was 2016. Like I had learned to say like moi and mitakulu and things like that, and maybe like tree and flower and all this stuff. No, it was 2016 that I finally wanted to learn. And we were driving to a course because I was here for 3 weeks. And we were driving to the course and I was like, okay, I need to know. Like I can't be here for this long and just like not know what a sign says or not know what you guys are saying or like not know how to say even like order my food. And so ever since then it's been like downloading apps, watching YouTube videos. But this January I finally hired a tutor, like a teacher. And so like this morning I had a lesson with my teacher who is actually from Helsinki. So it's kind of cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That is some commitment. So it sounds like not only are you sold on the beauty, on how awesome it is over here, but you're committed to continuing to travel here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I one winter came over just to see my friends Teemu and Ellie here in Finland. So, yeah. Finland has my heart, it's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now let's zoom in a little bit to what's happening this weekend. You have a couple of titles here. You've been on top of the podium. You know this course. Have you had a chance to practice this week?
Yeah. I've gotten 2 practice rounds in.
And there hasn't been significant changes, but there are a few.
Yeah.
Care to reflect on what you've seen?
Yeah, they have provided a couple FPO tee pads. And I think those are great changes. I don't think they changed the difficulty of the hole. I think it makes it more birdieable, but I think we'll still see score separation on those holes. And I mean, the Beast is fun because it, you know, you can throw rollers or sidearms or backhands and long shots and short shots and touch shots. And yeah, it's a great place.
And I actually asked this to Paul McBeth himself because he mentioned how many different shots and what the variety demands out here. Do you feel like that loans to your success over the past years, having so much variety of skills in your bag?
Yeah, I guess I've never thought about it like that, but I do. You know, I've probably said this quote like so many times, but I remember being on tour 2011 or 12 and Elaine King being like, if you want to be on tour, you better learn to like all courses. And then I felt like from that, I was like, okay, I better have all the shots. So possibly, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's see. The President's Cup. You've been a part of that team a few times.
Yes, I think every year that we've had it since 2013. Yeah.
And we're flawless. We're at 100%
Yeah.
Team USA. Does that build pressure? Does that build nerves? Do you think we can pull it off again this year?
Oh, for sure. I mean, of course, I think we've said this the last few years, but every year the Europeans seem to get stronger and stronger. But I don't know. We seem to just, I don't know, make it happen. So, yeah, I'm excited as usual. It's a fun, more relaxing way to play competition. It's also, in my opinion, great to play the course in a more serious setting before the weekend starts. I feel like there's been a lot of times where I've thrown some shots in the the President's Cup and been like, oh, okay, I need to adjust. Or it's, you know, I kind of get to see how a few of the top women are scoring or playing. So I always think that as a benefit before the week starts.
All right. Well, here's Brian with a few more questions,
Okay.
and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Hello, a couple
Hey.
questions for you. Looking at some stats and was pretty blown away by a couple things. First off, obviously know already that you're a 7-time major champion. You've mixed your wins over here and over there. You're 2-time European Open champion. But the thing that I'm more impressed by is you got second and third place 13 more times on top of the 7 wins at the majors.
Okay.
And it speaks to a lot of things, and one of them being consistency. But a lot of athletes say that they learn more from the near wins than the actual wins. Can you talk about those second and third place podium, major finishes where you came close, didn't quite get it? Do you kind of internalize those a lot?
Oh yeah, I actually will never forget getting second place at Worlds in 2012. I think it stayed with me. That was probably one of my first career big losses. I had shot my, to this day, highest rated round in the semifinals to come back from quite a deficit, and then lost pretty much on the last few holes, or last hole. But you are correct. You do learn from those situations. And I think the thing I always take away is more than likely I played scared and tried not to lose instead of, I heard a golfer talking, and she's like, you need to practice like it's the end of the world, or like it means everything, and you need to play like it doesn't matter, right? And finding the balance coming down the stretch on the final rounds of being in the moment, but also, kind of letting go and letting it happen.
Kind of sounds like a challenging paradox.
It does, yeah.
Care but not care at the same time.
Care but not care. And not care in a way like laughing when you make a mistake, but like committing and not thinking results-wise, right?
Not placing a judgment. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this course in particular. You talked about kind of like staying present, not playing scared. How much do you feel like you have to press on this course, maybe aggression-wise? I feel like there are really good risk-reward opportunities out here. How much do you feel like you have to press?
There's a couple places where I think the wind's going to play a factor in that, on whether I like aggressive or not. I think of like hole 3, even like 2, I'm just throwing a sidearm to like 40 feet, just because I feel like when you press out here, if you're not able to execute that shot every round, it can really start to add up towards the weekend. And I think that's finding that balance, right? Like, where do you press and where do you take the long look and an easy par?
Well, fantastic. Thank you for the clarity, Catrina. We'll see you out there this week. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a few. Welcome back, everybody. Joined here by Ricky Wysocki. Ricky, we're back in Europe. We're back in Finland. How has the trip been for you? You played last week in Norway.
Yeah, it's been good. It was a good kind of warm-up tournament last week, just to kind of get acclimated and be out here in Europe. So, yeah, last week was a great tournament. Well ran, as always. Tournaments in Europe the professionalism is unmatched for sure. It's great. Well-ran tournaments, great courses. And so, yeah, I was glad to play that last week and kind of get a warm-up for this week. But, yeah, I'm glad to be here in Finland. This is probably as professional as it gets as far as disc golf tournaments go. So I'm excited to be a part of that.
Well, one of those elements that we've been talking to the players about is the President's Cup coming up tomorrow. I think a lot of players they're more scared of losing it than they are of wanting to win it. You've been on President's Cup team for a while, and I asked Paul a similar question. When you first got asked to be on the President's Cup team, what was it like? What was the experience like? And who were you as a player back then?
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool to we don't really have that. Obviously, we're not in the Olympics or anything, so we can't really represent your country any other time. So this is the one time, the one day out of the year that if you qualify, you get to represent your country. And so you just feel all that pressure. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's why you hear people say we don't want to lose, because we have an undefeated record, and you know the competition gets better every year as far as Europe goes. And so, yeah, we have a great team, and we always do. But it's all about the nerves coming down the stretch, and it's such a short. The layout is only, I think, 9 holes match play, 9 hole stroke play. So there's only 18 holes. So every shot it matters so much more than a regular tournament, because not just because of the short layout, but also because it's for your country.
Well, I want to reiterate a question. You know, when you first got asked to be on the President's Cup team all those years ago, I think it was either 2011 or 2013 you got asked to be on the team. What was your game like as a player? Was it a lot different than it is now?
Yeah, it was totally different. I mean, I think I was just this young gunslinger, just bombing sidearms, and OB. I wasn't even scared of OB or death putts. That wasn't a thing. So yeah, I mean, you're just you're playing so free, I guess is a good word for it, when you're 18, 17 years old, and you get a couple bad rollaways here and there, and your mindset changes a little bit, and you kind of tone the aggression down and know when to attack and know when to play safe. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is the controlled aggression, knowing when to be aggressive and knowing when the percentages are in my favor to be aggressive and when the percentages are not to lay up. And that's the biggest thing.
Well, talk about, how you've evolved as an athlete and as a disc golfer playing courses over here in Europe. What do the courses here in Europe demand maybe differently that of the States?
Yeah, I think out here the beast is I actually kind of compare it to USDGC. Lots of OB, and I think that the last couple of days have been super windy with out of bounds. So the course, any course changes in the wind, but I mean out here especially, you can shoot 10, 12 under with no wind if there's no wind. But if there's wind, you're looking to shoot 4 or 5 under at most because these holes play super hard when it gets windy, and just throwing your disc 300, 350 feet safe on some of these par 4s is a great shot. And so, yeah, the pars are good coming down the stretch. The finishing 4 or 5 holes are very challenging, great holes, and lots of drama if you're a spectator and as a player, because you don't want to – there's a lot of holes that can ruin your tournament. And I think that, yeah, that's why you have to have respect for this course. And if you don't, then it will eat you up.
Well, one last question before I throw it to Zoe. This tournament has eluded you. You've come so close, and there's been so many epic battles that you've gotten to put on for the fans. What are you kind of zoning in on in order to take down the victory this week?
Yeah, for me, I think out here, obviously you hear people say every part of your game has to be solid, but I think really the biggest thing is forehands. I think there's a lot of left to right shots and a lot of shots you're carrying over OB, and you want to have a nice consistent 400 to 450 foot sidearm that's going to land you safe. I think that's why you see Barsby playing well out here a lot. He's got a really good forehand and a great putt. And so if someone's forehands on and whoever's going to, I think that's, the name of the game. At Chandler last year, I mean, a lot of forehand dominant players play well out here, and I think that's because a lot of these holes set up for that. And so I've been working a lot on my forehand and dialing that in, and my putt feels better than ever. So putted really well last week, and I'm looking to carry that into this week and get my forehands dialed.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for the clarity, Rick, and here's Zoe.
Thank you.
Hello, Rick.
Hey.
So I'm just going to start right where we left off. How is the forehand feeling? Is it dialed in?
Yeah, it feels good. I'm feeling good. I put a couple extra discs in to throw my like right around 400, 450 foot range, because that seems like a lot of drives out here are in that range. So I'm going to do a little more field work with that, but it feels really good.
You said the putt's feeling really dialed, feeling good. After a 5th place finish last weekend and just the severity of the travel and the season, how's the body feeling?
Feels great. I went to the host hotel the other day and did a little sauna, Finnish culture, and did a sauna and a hot tub and an ice bath. So felt refreshed after that. So I'm probably going to make that my daily routine to do that after every round and get my body recovered and ready for the next day. 4-round event. So I'm excited for that.
That was one of my next questions. Are you reading one? I was going to say you love the ice bath treatment, the ice shock, but it is all about the sauna here. And so you're double dipping and enjoying the heat also, the treatment.
Yeah, the Finns love their hot saunas. And I was in there yesterday and these Finns are just dumping the water into the into the hot stones in the sauna, just sweating everybody out. But it's good for the body. I like to do the hot cold therapy and do it like 2 or 3 sets of hot and then cold, hot and then cold. And Kat just told me about a nice place that we can go out in Tampere where you can do like sauna and an ice bath outside in the lake. So that's going to be exciting. Hopefully I can get that address and go there.
Fantastic. Well, one final thing off of the course, what would you say your favorite pieces or a couple of your favorite aspects of being here in Finland really are?
I think that just the detail that's paid attention to as the course designers. There's people out there picking up every piece of trash. Limbs are just tightly cut, and I think the OB lines are placed really well. And so everything is just super professional, just from the moment you get here and step on foot of the course to how it's ran, to how you got the President's Cup. So just this whole week is just it's amazing to see the progression of this event, and it's I'm so excited to put on a show for the spectators, and hopefully I can bring it home.
Oh, just kidding. One more question. Will Team USA stay undefeated?
Definitely. We're going to do whatever it takes, and we're going to get it done.
Excellent, Rick. Thank you so much, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Disc Golf Network, and I am joined by Silva Saarinen. First of all, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Very good. Well, at this time, Silva, last year, you were rated 897, and now you're up to 936. You've recently also had 3 big wins on the European Tour. What's going on? How are you so successful?
Mitä mä sanon?
Between last year at this time and this year, what is the biggest part of your game that has grown or gotten better?
My throwing.
And how about putting?
About same, maybe a little bit better.
So you came over to the United States for your first time this year and had a little bit of experience and maybe not quite up to your standards, but then we noticed you came back to Europe and you've been winning everything. Would you say that your experience in the United States got you motivated and excited to play good here?
Maybe, I don't know.
When you think of this weekend being a major, what is your number one goal just to come out of this weekend saying you were able to do it?
I haven't thought about it. We will see it.
Have you had a chance to practice a couple of rounds at the Beast?
Soon. Mitä mä sanon, että mä menen nyt? Not yet. I'm going there now.
Okay.
After this.
And will you rely on a forehand or a backhand or both throughout the weekend?
Only backhand.
Only backhand. Yeah. Okay. Is it exciting for you to have all of the United States players over here and to be playing in this major?
Yeah, it's nice to see them there.
And if you had just one thing that you wanted to do very, very good this weekend, what would that be?
I hope that I can throw good from... Mikä on niinku avausheitto? From the tee.
Very good. That's a great goal to have. So if you can throw good from the tee, that will give you confidence to putt well, potentially?
Yeah, of course.
All right. How long have you been playing disc golf?
I think this is my 9th year. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So quite a while, actually. And did you ever imagine yourself playing professional disc golf?
Maybe the last few years.
And is there anything out there that you would give good advice to anybody that wants to become a professional disc golfer? What would they need to do to be in your seat right now?
Train a lot.
Lots of training. Wow. Is this going to be your first major?
No, I was in US in Champions Cup.
Oh, Champions Cup. All right. Does it feel more nervous to play in a major than it does to prepare for other events, or is it about the same?
I think it's same.
All right. Well, I want to wish you the best of luck this weekend, and if there's anyone out there that you want to give a shout out to, you may do so. But we want to say good luck from all of us here at the network, and we hope you have a lot of success this weekend.
Thank you.
Heimburg. Calvin, it sounds like you've had some fun travel experiences getting over here to Europe, getting over here to Finland. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, getting here from Norway had some delays. Spent an extra like 5 or 6 hours, I think, in the Oslo airport, but made it in super early Monday morning, and been getting out here and getting some practice rounds in to get ready for the event.
It seems like European players are constantly flying back and forth from either Finland, Estonia, over to the U.S. and then back multiple times. We really only do this one time throughout the year. How has the jet lag been for you adjusting?
It definitely took a couple days, but luckily I got to deal with that while I was in Norway. I feel adjusted at this point. I've been over here for a little bit, so I feel comfortable now, but it definitely took a couple days on the way over.
Talk about the course we actually just saw last week and how it applies to the Disc Golf Pro Tour as a whole. It was an 8,700-foot course. Not too many distance drivers I saw coming out of the hands of the players. Did you enjoy that style of technical course?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was on the shorter side. I mean, I would even say that like this course that we're playing this week are on the shorter side. It was definitely fun. I think there could be a couple spots where they lengthened a couple things, but it's definitely been a good change of pace, and I've enjoyed playing over here so far.
So you think that courses like either the Beast or what we saw at Uveras have a place on the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
Yeah, I don't think every course has to be whatever 10, 11, 12,000 feet or whatever we're starting to push these days. But as long as they challenge some kind of skill set and they make you make choices, I think they're good courses. So I think there's a lot of par fours that we play, even just on the 2 courses that I'm playing here this year. That the different spots make you make different choices, and it's not just like a rip it and then deal with your approach. It's like you need to be placed in the right spot off the tee in order to really be attacking for your birdie.
Well, let's talk about the Beast in particular. Obviously, we have a 4-round major here this week. Over a 4-round tournament, what are like the main shot-making demands out here?
I think there's a decent little variety. Different parts of the course kind of require different things, but I think it's going to take like a pretty balanced approach of forehands and backhands. And there's different way to attack different holes. I may even throw some rollers this week, so we'll see how that's feeling. I've been practicing those, I don't know. I think there's a lot. I don't think I really touch my mid ranges too much, but I think there's a decent bit of fairway drivers and distance drivers there.
Talk about the rollers. We rarely see you throw those on even golf courses. So what holes out here are even making you think about that?
I think holes 4 and 12 set up decently well for a roller tee shot. You can play both of those with forehands as well, which I've also been practicing. You can even throw backhands on them, but I think the roller on those allows you to bite off quite a bit, and I don't think it's quite as hard to hit the line. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure I'll be throwing a roller on 12. 4, I'm not sold completely yet, but 12, I'm pretty sure I'll be throwing a roller this week.
And just out of curiosity, because I haven't seen you throw a ton of rollers in tournament, are you throwing more of like a flip roller, something that's going to roll into that roller angle, or are you laying something relatively stable down?
The disc I'm throwing is pretty flippy, but I think in the case of like hole 12, for example, like even if the disc is flippy, you kind of need to get it down vertical kind of quickly. Anything with any kind of cut is going to get pulled down the hill to the left. So, it's a flippy disc, but it's really just to get it up and out to the right. So, but you need to lay it down vertical.
Are you actually going out to a field and practicing roller, or is that just getting up to the tee pad and just practicing a specific shot?
No, I haven't gone out to the field and practice. I mean, I've thrown rollers before. It's just getting a little more comfortable with it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this course on the other side of things. What are the psychological demands of a 4-round major at a course like this?
I think it's just knowing you don't have to really do anything crazy at any one moment, and there's a lot of time, a lot of holes, and just know that one bad shot doesn't really take you out of it. It's just keeping your head in it for all 4 rounds is going to be really important, and I think out here, there's definitely plenty of spots to go out of bounds, and bogeys are going to happen. You're not just going to play perfectly clean every single round, so it's just, not letting things, compound and getting a bogey after you just got a bogey. So it's just one shot at a time, and, depending on the wind, this year's been way windier so far than last year from what I remember, so it could score a little worse.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for that. And here's
Yeah.
Zoe, a couple more.
Hello, Calvin. Welcome to the Beast. You have had so much success this season, and you've been the top-ranked player in the Disc Golf Pro Tour on the UDisc standings, world rankings. How's the game currently feeling? We haven't seen you on top since Jonesboro. How are you feeling?
I feel fine. I feel healthy, and I feel like I'm throwing the disc well. So it's just, trying to. Winning's difficult. There's a lot of really good players out there, and it's just, trying to put together a complete tournament where you don't make as many mistakes as anyone else. So that can always be difficult. But I've definitely put myself in contention quite a bit this year, and I hope to do that again this weekend.
And you got to play here last time for your first time, correct?
Yep.
And so how does the Beast as a course and as a whole rank in your list of courses?
I don't know. It's a good course. I feel like if I just look at the Beast as a course, I don't quite enjoy it as much as I do, looking at this as the event it is. The course is pretty good. It's solid. Definitely not one of my favorites, but I think when you put it all together and all the spectators that we have out here and just the whole experience, it definitely ranks up there as, one of the best tournaments of the year. But just looking at the course itself, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites.
And obviously, a major is the next thing to check off of your list for your career. What will it mean to you to take it down this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the first major I won, so it would be nice to check that box off. But not really thinking too much about that right now. I just focusing on the game, and if that's what happens at the end of the week, that'd be great. And if not, got a couple more this year.
So your practice preparation and even mental preparation is comparative to all other events for this weekend, or is it a little different?
Yeah, I mean, I think practice and prep are pretty similar. Honestly, things are a little squeezed in this week. There's not really a whole lot of time to practice out here. We flew in on Monday, so it's like Monday, Tuesday. There's President's Cup on Wednesday, and the event starts on Thursday. So I would say practice is a little more squeezed in compared to a normal week. But yeah, as a whole, everything else, the approach is the same. The real big difference here is we got 4 rounds this week, so it's just a slightly longer tournament.
All right, switching gears just for a moment, the President's Cup starting tomorrow and Team USA being undefeated. Are we going to do it again?
I certainly hope so. We got a really good team out there, and I think if all of us play, to the best of our abilities, we'll definitely come out on top.
And do you like the format, how there is competition in kind of a friendlier but yet a serious aspect right before the 4 rounds of your tournament start?
Honestly, it's not my favorite. I think, especially this being a major, it just seems kind of strange that we're kind of closing the course down for half a day, and I'm not focused on necessarily me getting ready for the tournament. I'm playing another side tournament. I do think the President's Cup is a really cool format, and I really enjoyed playing in it last year. And I hope at some point maybe it can separate into its own event the week before or something, but I do find it a little strange that we're playing it the day before a major starts.
All right, one final question then. If the World Championships were to come here to the Beast and potentially even the Tampere Center or another course comparable, would that be an exciting feeling that we would have the World Championships somewhere else and specifically right here?
Yeah, I mean, this course has been tested. It's, major worthy, and I know I've heard really good things about the Tampere Disc Golf Center, so it'd be really cool to have a international Worlds. It's really been in the States for all but 1 year, so doesn't really feel like a World Championship. But I think it would be really cool, if they won a bid in the near future, and we got to come here and play Worlds.
Thank you, Calvin. Best of luck to you this weekend, and we'll be back in just a moment. We are back on the Disc Golf Network, joined by Eveliina Salonen. Eveliina, thank you so much for rejoining the tour. We have missed you. You've been gone for a little while. How does it feel to be back?
Feels great to be back, but I really needed that break, but it's fun to be back.
Well, can we talk about the break just for a couple of seconds? I did some digging and I couldn't find you performing in any tournaments. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I have also played a lot of disc golf, but not tournaments, but also hanging with friends and family and playing different sports like padel.
And you said you needed that break, and would you say much more mentally? You needed the time to be able to work physically on the skills, but you needed a mental break from the tour?
Yeah, mentally, because like start of the season was really rough to me.
Well, I want to say great job last weekend at PCS. From tee to green, you continue to be one of the most dominant forces in all of FPO of all time. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but the stats are incredible. They're off the charts, and the putting looks better than it ever has. Would you say that you focused a lot more on putting during this break and time off?
Yeah, of course, and now my putting felt much more relaxed, and I really enjoyed on being on putting green, so that was a huge step to me.
We saw an eagle on day one at PCS carded, and of course 2 incredible drives to get you there, but you were on the back side of circle 1. Big putting. That wasn't the only time we saw you make something outside of 25 feet. So putting, confidence, let's go into it. Are you feeling it? What are you telling yourself before you're letting go of the disc? Or is there anything?
Yeah, I just try to get my routine and focus on that, because I know that I have that skill on putting, but it's more mentally blocked. But yeah, try to be relaxed.
Incredible. Well, we're back at the Beast. You've been here plenty of times. A lot of good memories here, some epic battling last year, specifically with Paige Pierce, who is not in the field this weekend. How do you feel coming back to a course you have so many reps on and so many tournament rounds?
It's so awesome to be here. Like, I live 20 minutes from this course, so I can be at my home, and my family and friends are coming to watch, so it's a big thing to me.
And the spectators and just having the local gallery come out, and it's actually been a bigger gallery than anywhere we've seen. What does that feel like? It's so much pride.
Yeah, it feels different than in US, and I can really feel that support when I'm playing.
All right, specifically zooming in on the course, what's the skill that you're going to be leaning into the heaviest? How are you going to set yourself aside from the rest of the field?
I think I have to keep my discs in bounds and make my putts.
And there hasn't been a ton of changes, but there are a few. Have you had a chance to practice the recent changes?
Yeah, I have played 2 rounds already. So.
And would you say it really changed much of your attack plan, or are you just a different thrower this year? Is this year much different than previous years?
I think it's pretty same, but those holes where we get those FPO tee-bats, I think it's bigger chance to get birdie. So I'm, of course, playing aggressive.
All right. Well, I want to say good luck to you this weekend, and here's Brian Earhart with a few more.
Thank you.
Hey, Eveliina.
Hey.
A couple questions for you. Zoom in on this course, maybe from a course design standpoint. As a shot maker yourself, backhand thrower, forehand thrower, what are the main demands of this course when it comes to what kind of shots you have to throw?
I feel I have like everything what it needs. Like usually I don't throw these many sidearms like here, so I think I really have to have everything to play well here.
You think it's pretty balanced the way the course asks for backhand, forehand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then in regards to technicality, do you feel like you're able to get away with just throwing a lot of stable discs, or do you have to throw something a little bit more understable every now and then and move the disc a bit more?
On those practice rounds, it has been super windy, so I use only my most stable discs. But I think those are like enough to play well here.
Okay. And then we have a 4-round major here, and it's obviously a long week, especially with President's Cup starting tomorrow. psychologically, mentally, what do you focus on when it comes to a major championship?
I don't know. I just play and play like normal tournament, but it's 4 rounds, so it can feel pretty long.
Is it easy to tell yourself to just treat the majors like every other tournament?
Usually yes, but in major in Finland it's always different, and I think I take a little bit more pressure on that because of course I want to play well in front of like Finnish gallery. So
One last question for you. What is paddle?
I think it's same thing than pickleball in US. It's so popular and growing all the time, but I would say it's like mixed tennis and squash.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
squash.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. I really love that sport.
Is it good? Do you do it as like cross training for your shoulder and legs and stuff like that? Do you feel like it's good training?
I don't know. I just play.
That is wonderful insight into the way you look at the sport and disc golf, I guess, as well. Well, good luck this week. We're rooting for you. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Joined here now by Tournament Director Jussi Meresmaa. Jussi, thank you for joining us here. Looking forward to talking with you. This course has remained virtually, it seems like, unchanged for quite some time. Can you give some history of this course and then also the tournament?
Sure. I'm actually a head of media. Petri will be the tournament director, so that also means that I get more into the course design and making the stage ready for the players. So this will be our 11th European Open, and we started in Tampere. So actually we had to move in this venue because the tournament grew so big that there were like thousands of spectators, and city of Nokia can provide a spectacular arena for disc golf. So that's why we are here in the Nokia, and the Beast, what we call this course, is actually 10 years in the making, but we try to keep the Beast as traditional as possible because I really like the heritage that we can bring into the game.
Well, you've done much more in course design than just this course. Talk about when you first got into that and what maybe you've learned over the years.
So for course design, I think I designed my first course back in the late 90s, so it's been a while. And I think I have about 85 to 90 courses done in my resume, basically mainly in Finland. But of course, I've been involved with through the world tour. I've been part of the designing courses pretty much across the world. And course design is probably one of the things I like the most because it's almost like an art. You have a piece of property that you can build or design as a golf course, and you really can challenge, and you want to challenge every skill set of the player, and that is especially in place here at the Beast.
Well, talk about some of the things that you've had to learn designing for the top professional players. What is challenging nowadays? What do you have to look for, and what innovations do you have to start thinking about when challenging the best players now?
That's a great question. I think in order to be able to design a major level course, you need to understand the game deeper. And of course, the game is changing all the time. So I would say that this particular course is representing kind of not the modern type, like an open field golf course shots, but this is more like that you really need to have an angle control, which is very important. So there is not really a lot of stock hyzers here. You need to really have the flat and then hyzer flip angles, and that's something that I really cherish as a course designer because it's not about the distance, it's about the accuracy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to ask you just a couple of things now that I have you sitting here. About course design and the future of course design. There's some people that say, the baskets should be smaller, we should change the size of circle one. All of these discussions happen all the time. What is your thought on baskets or pin positions or the circles? What do you think needs to change in the future to continue making the game harder?
Yeah, I would say that there was a time that I was actually on the boat of that the basket should be smaller, but I don't think anymore that that's the case. I think that the greens in particular should be more challenging, whether they are on the slope, whether they're close to the OB, whether they're island greens or stuff like that. So I think that the basket is actually a good size that gives our sport a unique opportunity to have those long 60, 70 footers that are, that's what people want to see. You want to see a deep circle 2 putt going in on the very last holes. So I think if we take the basket smaller, we're going to see a different game after that. So I think the challenging pin positions are the key for making this even more interesting around the greens.
Well, I want to talk to you about the crowds that come out here to the Beast because It blows me away every time we see it here. How many people are here helping to manage the thousands of people that come out?
Well, too few, but of course our staff is growing year by year. So I think we have more than 100 people signed for the staff this year, which is great. I think we definitely need to step up with the crowd control. Last time when we had over 5,000 people on site, we were shorthanded by a lot, but of course we try to keep our involvement also that we have more people guiding the crowds. But the problem or the challenge is that there are so many star players nowadays, so it might be that one of the star players is not on the lead card, it's on the 7th card. Like last year, Simon was like deep in the 10th, 9th card, and there were 500 people following him. So that creates a unique challenge for us, because there's obviously this area is so big that we need to have pretty much hundreds of volunteers to control the crowd. But of course, we do try our best.
Well, it's going to be super exciting to see that play out this weekend. Just looking to the future, I know there has been so much talk of a world championship one day coming to Europe and coming to one of these courses. I know Jeff Spring in the United States has talked about his idea for the future is him focusing on facility development for bigger and bigger tournaments. Is that something that you're kind of focusing on here in Finland, like future courses?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. We actually bid for the Worlds 2024. I need to break some bad news for you guys that the city of Nokia has made a decision that they're going to build a swimming hall right next to the hockey center somewhere in the future. So most likely the construction will start 2025. So in the worst case scenario, this will be the second last time we're going to play at the Beast. We don't know yet how the actual design process and that will go, but most likely we will have 2 years left.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for sharing that news with us. It's very sad to hear that. But with that said, are there other pieces of property that you have gotten to see to potentially design another major level course?
Yeah, we have a Tampere Disc Golf Center 15 kilometers away from here, so we do have a place for the European Open, which is a one-course major. But of course, when you ask about the World Championships, it requires 2 courses. So we're now basically pondering if we are even going to make a bid for 2025, because the window is closing, but we need to have some meetings with the city people.
Well, Jussi, thank you so much. We're all super looking forward to seeing the course get played this week. We'll see you out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a few. And we are back on the Disc Golf Network for our final interview here, joined by Phil Delaunay. Phil, how does it feel to be here in Finland at the Beast?
It feels great. Year 2 for us here in DGN, so it's great to be back. It's bigger and better than ever, so it's going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be a great week.
Let's talk about the efforts into getting this course prepared for the major, the 4-round tournament and the President's Cup. Have we had to ramp up on staff? And how are the volunteers looking? And how is the local staff? Is it ramped up for this year?
Yeah, so like Jussi had just mentioned, ourselves, we brought 12 people over from the States, more focused on DGN side of things, and then 3 people from operations. And then they have brought a great team. So like he was saying, last year, ramping up crowd control efforts and everything. I think we did 5,500 people last year. So it's definitely noticeable already. The volunteers are great. They've been all around here, making sure the course is set for competition. The course is ready, and these guys are just in red shirts, and there's an army of them. So it's going to be a great time.
Well, let's talk about a couple of the newer activations here, sitting in this wonderful looking booth. We have not had the Disc Golf Network here on site. This is our first year. Do we think that this will help amplify the viewership or amplify the event?
Yeah, I think a backdrop with the green of 18 and commentators in this booth is going to be amazing. Just having it on site also allows all of you guys to kind of feel the buzz that's in the air and not be far away in a studio. So hopefully that enhances your side of it, allows you to feel a little bit more energy, and allows I think people walking by this amazing glass structure 20 by 20 tent is great. So it's going to be a great time for the fans to kind of peek in and view it. And then hopefully it's great in general.
We keep hearing so much buzz about the spectatorship last year, over 5,000 people. Can you share with us about the ticket sales for this year?
Yeah, so there is a very limited number of ticket sales. The town of Nokia, actually, we just don't do ticket sales here. There's a VIP activation, as you have mentioned about other activations. So they have access to a sauna, as they say, located off the green of 18, as well as like a VIP hospitality suite in a bus. It's really great. And everything else is a free ticket type. So that's kind of challenging for us in 2 ways. One, we just don't know how many people are actually coming. But 2, it always seems to work out. So we had a crowd control meeting today, and they have some leads that really Jussi has stressed the importance of how to manage these crowds. And I feel very confident in the crew that is going to be managing it, as well as the few operations people from GGPT. So hopefully it's a great time. Our cameras won't get swarmed. Our players are going to be protected, and we're going to have a good show.
All right, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. At OTB, we were able to speak with Jeff Spring a little bit about just kind of where the Disc Golf Pro Tour was sitting. We asked him a little bit about viewership, how the Disc Golf Network's numbers are looking, and just the overall feel and success of the tour. We're about 2/3 of the way through this season, going into this biggest, most viewed second major. How is the tour feeling about virtually all of our numbers?
Yeah, I think all of our numbers collectively are rising just as a sport. I mean, the graph and trajectory of it is just staying on course as we thought. So it's increasing. I think being over here in Europe is no brainer. It's just allowing us to do multiple broadcasts. Right now we have an off week in the States, but it's doing pretty well. So I think last weekend with PCS and everything, our numbers are rising each weekend. So hopefully it continues the path, and we just keep giving people a good, consistent product. I think that's the main thing that we try to focus for. Our camera guys are amazing. Our commentators are amazing. You guys all of us just keep getting better every week. So,
well, thank you for shedding that light, and I'm going to hand it off to Brian.
Yeah. Thanks, Zoe.
Hello, Phil.
What's up, Brian?
Not much. Just a couple of questions for you. You're a busy man. You are on the road all the time, hustling all over the place, working with so many different people. How are you doing at this point in the season?
I'm great. I miss my wife. She's incredible. So, yeah, I think it's good. The staff's, this is a good pushing point. But as a person, I guess, honestly, yeah, I'm good, but it's hard to kind of slow down and take it all in when it's so fast. But yeah, I think that's question's different right now. We got married 2.5 months ago, but she's with me, and now she's home, and some stressful times. But I mean, that's personal stuff. And that's all fine. We're doing well. But I think for the most part, everyone misses their home, their wife, the consistencies, the dogs, the cats. But I think it's helpful to have, a team that all has the same passion with you on the road. So the moments that you ask yourself why you do this, they could come up more often than not. But also, I think all of us are here for a reason, and like we feel that we have a purpose and purpose of the community, and we're all trying. We're all you yourself. We're all like just trying to give the community and the sport our best every weekend. So that's what we're trying to do.
Well, I'm hoping that while you're here in Finland and I believe in Norway last week, I hope that you're at least finding some moments in time to enjoy yourself amongst all this chaos that's week in and week out on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Have you gotten to play any disc golf, go into any saunas, enjoy yourself?
I didn't play last week. I think I threw hole one a couple times, but yeah, this week I might have a little friendly battle with a player that may have been on this press conference. But other than that, yeah, no saunas yet. We did those last year and they were amazing. A good time to kind of relax, take a break. So that was good.
Well, Phil, thank you so much for your efforts. We definitely appreciate everything that you do, and we'll see you out there this week. You'll be hustling around.
Thanks, Brian.